Oh man, there's a lot of salty conservatives on social media today. And it's all because of Matt Generu, because he decided he wanted to make a difference. I think he's been a conservative MP for about 10 years. But being a conservative MP for that long, and deciding now that you wanted to make a change, it does make a pretty big statement. And I'm going to tell you exactly why he decided to cross the floor. But not only that, there are rumors that there could be a fourth MP deciding to cross over as well. I'm also going to talk about the Tesla sales in Europe today, where a good majority of the countries are significantly down when it comes to sales. And last but not least, I do want to talk about China dropping the visa requirements for Canadians to visit their country. So we'll talk about all of this in today's video. The backdrop that you're looking at today comes from Snowbot from our Discord server. And he took this photo from the Burrard Inlet Dry Dock Pier, a place that I'm definitely familiar with and a place I also miss as well. Thanks Snowbot for sending pictures of my home. Now just as a reminder, or maybe for those who are new to my channel, there are two petitions that I'm featuring. The first one on the left is from Heather McPherson. And the TLDR for this one, anything that has to do with ICE, whether it's contracts or having their presence in Canada, is to have them removed. And this one is currently at 9,387 signatures. And the one on the right is by Bruce Fanjoy. And this one is to make sure that all of our federal MPs get the proper security clearance. This one is currently at 36,954 signatures. So if you want to check them out or read them over, the link will be in the description below as well as the pinned comments. And I congratulate myself, I actually said these numbers correctly. Okay, so I want to start off with a report where China has lifted the visa restrictions for Canadians and even UK citizens to travel into their country. If you ask me, this is a big deal. And it does show, hey, get off the keyboard, get off keyboard. Sorry about that. The co-host actually loves sleeping beside my hand when I'm typing. I'll take a picture for you guys later so you can see. But what I was going to say is that this isn't just about having our Canadian tourists visit China. In my opinion, it also shows that China is opening up and very open to work with Canada. Let's start off on the report.
Seeing sites like the Lee River is now a lot easier for Canadians.
The impact is huge. It's tremendous.
Starting Tuesday until the end of the year, Canadian and British passport holders won't need a visa to enter China for a stay of up to 30 days. Tour companies say the visa application process was cumbersome and expensive, around $200 per person.
We started seeing, a modest increase of inquiries, right, into our China programs over the weekend. Can you believe that?
Okay, I just took a photo of the co-host, so I'll show it at the end of the video. But back to the report. I know many of us don't want to deal with visas, and being Canadian, I'm fortunate that a lot of countries will just let us come in. I've been to China a few times, though both times I got my visa in Hong Kong. But from what I remember in the process, I had to leave my passport with the agency for a day. It might have changed by now, but it's still a little bit of a hassle. So the fact that Canadians can now go without a visa for 30 days, you can bet that there's going to be a lot more interest going to China.
A professional benefit, says Julius Yan, but also personal. His daughter is going to see loved ones this spring.
Today, she can just go get a ticket and get on the airplane and fly to China to see her grandparents.
The new exemption also includes business trips to China that will benefit both countries, says Gordon So, whose organization helps immigrant-owned businesses connect with companies worldwide.
In the past, if you, let's say, meet someone at the Asian Financial Forum, and maybe it's a banker from somewhere in Beijing that you want to continue to do business with, well, if you don't have a visa, you can't go.
To be honest, I think this is more important than the tourists going in. Because with the chaos that's happening with our next door neighbor, we want our businesses to expand, and that includes making partnerships and deals with China.
Prime Minister Mark Carney announced the breakthrough after he met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in January, the latest indication of a thaw between Ottawa and Beijing in the wake of U.S. President Donald Trump's global trade war. That could complicate the U.S.-Canada relationship heading into trade negotiations later this year, says this professor.
We have to be very careful that it is made very clear to the American government that an improvement in the relations between Canada and China is not meant to damage relations with the United States.
A thaw, he says, that needs to be carefully navigated.
Now, I agree that we have to kind of carefully navigate through this and not really piss off the Orange McNugget. But the way I see it, this guy's so unpredictable that we can be walking on eggshells and navigating as carefully as we can. And he might get pissed off over a meme or something stupid. So on top of just carefully navigating, I say we got to do what we got to do. Now, going back to this tourism thing, I know there's going to be some people watching that are saying, oh, I'll never go to China or China's bad. The way I see it, every country has its faults, even Canada. But if I'm talking about today, in 2026, and I'm looking at a destination which is actually safer for me to go to, if I had to choose between United States and Canada, it's a no-brainer that I would choose China. Now, I've already been there a few times, one time for work and a couple for vacations. And to be honest, I've been recalling those trips that I went over there. And I have been comparing how it is now, trying to go into the United States, versus how it was 10 years ago going to China. Right now, when you go into the US, it feels like an interrogation when you didn't do anything wrong. 10 years ago when I went to China, I was greeted with a smile from their immigration officer, and I don't even speak their language. And 2 times the officer said, have a great stay in China. I don't know about you guys, but I would much rather travel to a place where I feel welcomed instead of interrogated. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this or whether or not you agree. And if you do agree and you're not subscribed yet and you want to hear more from a Canadian perspective, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. Now moving on to the next topic I wanted to talk about. It's Tesla. And their sales are down in a lot of countries in Europe. So right now I want to go through country by country in terms of how Tesla is doing. Now these stats are comparing 2024 to 2025. So basically before the Orange McNugget came into office and after. The first country is the UK. In 2024, they had 1,591 Tesla sales. January 2026, down to 714, a 55% drop. Moving over to Germany, they had 3,152 sales in January 2024. In January 2026, only 1,300. Moving over to the Netherlands, they dropped 81%. Norway dropped 93%. Now, the volume of car sales in Norway and Netherlands isn't as big as like Canada or United States or anywhere else. I mean, Norway had 1,108 sales in 2024. And in 2026, they only had 83. Only 83 people bought Teslas. Now, I don't think it's all because everyone hates Elon. Well, maybe a lot of it is. But Europe also has BYD and other China cars as well. So it's not like they have to buy Tesla. They do have options. Moving on to Denmark, they have a 44% drop from 2024 to 2026. Now here's where we see some countries have an increase. Italy rised up 82% from 2024 to 2026. Sweden, a 32% drop from 2024 to 2026. Portugal, a 31% drop from 2024 to 2026. Spain, a 58% drop from 2024 to 2026. Now, one thing to notice is that 2023 to 2024, Tesla was actually doing pretty good, and their sales were going well. But once last year hit, that's when things started really going downhill. And I'm sure this move by Elon didn't help either. Now, the next countries, Switzerland down by 79%, and Ireland up 117%. Now, that might sound like a lot, but you have to look at the volume in terms of what Ireland buys. And in reality, it's 77 Teslas. And the last 2 countries in the article, Finland, a 33% rise, and Austria, an 85% rise. Again, we have to look at the volumes. They may be up in terms of what they were at in 2024, but we're not talking about like thousands of Teslas bought. So to all my European viewers, and I know this group is growing, my analytics show it, I applaud you guys for not buying Elon's car. Now going back to Canada, I'm sure everybody has heard about the Conservative MP moving over to the Liberals. And to be honest, I'm not surprised. I think every Canadian content creator has covered this. And if you want a more in-depth review on the situation, I would recommend to go over to Bill Kelly's channel. He will give you a way more in-depth analysis than I ever could. But I do want to comment on one thing. And it's the reason why Matt General decided to move over. Let me play this clip for everyone.
Well, thank you everybody for coming here to on a cold day in Edmonton, but especially you, Prime Minister. It is a real pleasure to have you here in Edmonton. You're always welcome in Edmonton, and we have a lot of history, both of us here in Edmonton, and it's a beautiful part of our country. So I had announced my resignation back in November, largely due to the family reasons. But quite simply couldn't sit on the sidelines after seeing what the Prime Minister was, the ambitious agenda he was undertaking across the country and across the world. And quite honestly, it was the speech in Davos where you took everything head on. And I think for me, that's where a lot of the world changed. I think it opened a lot of eyes for Canadians, Albertans, Edmontonians, just how serious this national unity crisis truly is. And it's for me, it felt disingenuine and quite simply wrong to be sitting on the sidelines anymore. So I reached out to the Prime Minister's office and will be joining his caucus, and I couldn't be more proud to say this to you.
Excellent.
Now, we all heard Prime Minister Mark Carney's speech in Davos. And if you're someone that actually cares about your country's sovereignty, it probably moved you as it did for me. But it was also a good reality check for a lot of Canadians. And not even just Canadians, but for citizens from other countries as well. But to have somebody from the opposition party say that the opposing leader's speech moved him, then moving over to the Liberals, that says a lot if you ask me. If I have to create an analogy about this, it's like me playing for a hockey team, then listening to the other hockey team's coach and listening to his speech, being so moved to it that I want to play for the other team, then telling my coach to screw off. I hope that makes sense. It's the best analogy I can think of at the moment. But it makes me wonder, what were the other reasons that General wanted to leave? I know he wanted to resign last year, but could it be that he also didn't want to be associated with this guy? Or this guy? We've now had 3 Conservative MPs move over to the Liberals, and it makes me wonder, are there any more? I want to show you this report that talks about that possibility.
Let's bring in CTV's chief political correspondent, Vashi Kapelas. Vashi, the idea of a majority has to be an attractive possibility for the Liberals. So how fragile a moment is this for Pierre Poilievre?
Well, I think you're exactly right to describe it as fragile. That is the appropriate word here. I think, look, anytime a majority is within reach is a great day for the governing party, in this case, the Liberals. I'm not sure a majority of 1 or 2 is exactly going to secure a much more stable kind of path for them to navigate the House of Commons, but still, it's better than 3 seats short of a minority. The question of fragility of Pierre Poilievre's leadership, though, becomes front and center now that this is 3, right? Imagine if this were a month ago and that extra floor crosser had put them into majority territory. I think we would be having a discussion right now about whether Pierre Poilievre was on the verge of leaving. So anytime there are questions about the leader's leadership, which there will be following this 3rd floor crossing, is not a great day for the leader of any political party.
Now, I'm not good when it comes to politics. You guys already know that. And some of the haters are probably going to say I have no right to speak about it. Well, I am Canadian, so I'm going to speak about my government. So as a Canadian observing my own government, I don't think this guy is doing the Conservative Party any favors. And I'm sure there are Conservative MPs thinking the same thing as well. There's 141 Conservative MPs at the moment. And I'm pretty sure there's at least 1 or 2 of them that don't agree with this guy, going to the United States and hanging out with his buddy J.D. Vance, probably on the sofa. So it does make me wonder, how many more Conservative MPs are going to say enough is enough?
So is that the end of it, Vashi? Are there any more Conservatives who feel the same way as Jean Roux?
I'm going to go out on a limb, Sandy, and say it's not the end of it. And I can't find a single Liberal in and around the Prime Minister or even MPs who have been involved in this process. And there were more than one who say this is the end of it. They have very specific people they targeted, for example, in ridings that were won very narrowly, or people who ideologically are more to the center, or where there is a confluence of those 2 factors. There is a sort of strategic method to what they are doing that at least they communicate to me. So I don't think this is the end of it, Sandy.
And I have to agree with her as well. You can bet that every MP that has moved over, the remaining Conservative MPs are thinking in their head, am I with the right party? Well, at least the ones that maybe are towards the center, not the far right. So it's going to be an interesting couple of months coming up, and especially with the by-elections coming. And in the end, I do hope that the Liberals get a majority. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think there are any more Conservative MPs that will move over? Or do you think the Liberals will get a majority? Now, before I end this video, I actually have a question for my viewers. And I'm asking at the end because I know those people that watch to the end are part of the GTO community. Most of the ones that are just browsing have already clicked off. But as you guys know, some of my videos I have 1 topic, but some of them I actually have up to 3 topics in one video. And the problem that I'm actually starting to notice right now is that when I group maybe 2 or 3 videos together, and they might not even be related topics, some viewers are actually missing that I've already done reports that they're already sending me. An example would be the Forbes report. Now, the problem was that that video was coupled with a few other topics, and I can only fit so much in the thumbnail as well as the title. I do my best in the beginning of the video to outline everything that I'm going to talk about, but somehow people are still missing it. So I guess my question to the GTL community is, do you want me to keep the same format that I'm doing now? Multiple topics in a single video? Or do you want me to break it down? 1 topic, 1 video. Obviously, if I break it down, it's going to be shorter videos, like anywhere from like 4 to 6 minutes. But I do want to hear the GTL community's thoughts on this. So let me know in the comments below what you think, or even send me an email or even a DM on Blue Sky or Discord. Okay, that's all I got for today's video. And I know I owe everybody a photo. So here's the co-host earlier today when I was talking and she started tapping on my keyboard. I guess she just wants to be part of the production. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian perspective, without the US bias, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below, so that way you're notified of my future videos. Thanks everyone, I'll see you in the next one.